This is your dose of daily market wisdom with master trader Nick Santiago. Starting from humble beginnings, Nick has been beating the markets for over 2 decades. He shares with you his take on the profitable trades that will have you moving towards financial freedom in no time at all. To see an in-depth review of his track record and much more, go to inthemoneystocks.com. Welcome, and this is your daily dose of daily market wisdom with master trader Nick Santiago. I'm Kerry Lutz. Today is August 13th, 2020, and this is show number 97. Oh, we got good news on the employment front, right?
Yeah, we got a little bit of positive news out here. Everyone's talking about the initial weekly claims number. Came in at 963,000, so that's below the psychological 1 million mark that everybody has been screaming about for all of these weeks going past. And again, that's a nice psychological number to break. So we'll see if things start to improve. I think the initial claims for the week ending August 8th decreased by 228,000, which is showing improvement as well. So, you know, if these states can start to open up, maybe things will improve. Again, there's still a lot of work to do to get back to where we were. But definitely a little encouraging number today.
Yeah, well, I think we're getting to the point where the states are just not going to have a choice but to open up. They really do, especially with the deaths going down, and they've gone down dramatically in many states. Yeah, there's a few states where it's spiking. For the most part, they've gone down.
Yeah, we're definitely seeing it trend that way. But, you know, I was watching the news yesterday, and you have a business owner that owns a hair salon. They still can't open. You have a gym that can't open. You know, these places employ a lot of people. And, you know, you have so many bars out there, right, that are not allowed to open. You know, we're a service economy, a service industry. We threw away our manufacturing industries years and years ago. And again, this is what's affecting these numbers. So if things can, you know, get open, I think things will start to improve. But like you said, the numbers are trending better, and we'll see where we go.
Yeah, I'm thinking that by the end of August, beginning of September, most of it is going to be gone. If we look at our COVID deaths for the past day, and we see Florida, it's coming down. Well, high for Florida, it's 200, but nationwide, looking at 1,500 people. I just, you can't believe the numbers anymore. And that's the problem here, that nobody believes anything anymore.
And rightfully so, though. I mean, honestly, I've seen now so many different news reports living in Florida where the numbers are just really made up. You have people in hospice that are dying of cancer, and they get labeled COVID. You have a guy on a motorcycle who crashes his motorcycle, and then they label him COVID. A suicide, it's COVID. I mean, everything is just labeled COVID. So I guess the hospitals are making a bundle off of these labelings, but this is what we're dealing with at this stage of the game. So nobody believes the numbers anymore, including myself.
Yeah, and on the good front is that President Trump appointed Dr. Atlas, who's a member of the Hoover Institute, who's been a real skeptic of the shutdowns and everything that Herr Fauci has done. And he's finally going to hopefully bring a voice of reason, and I bet he's just the first. There's going to be numerous others that Trump brings in to start getting some sanity into our policy here. Hey, in any event, markets are up. What's going on with the markets, Nick?
Well, today we do have another rally going on in the NASDAQ. Now, the NASDAQ has been a little bit on the weaker side. Yesterday it did turn around, and today it's rallying back up again. Now, we still have a lot of cloud software names that are not back to where they were, but they're upticking a little bit. But one thing I want to just let everybody know is everybody should keep an eye on Apple. Now, Apple has announced that they're going to have split their shares 4-to-1 later this month. So I think the stock probably holds up and runs up into that split. But that's probably the key stock right now. I think it's approaching a $2 trillion market cap. So I think we should all keep an eye on Apple. As Apple goes, so goes the NASDAQ. But the good part about what we've seen recently when money has come out of the NASDAQ, it has gone into other areas, and that's a positive. So we've seen some industrials do better. We've seen financials do a little bit better as of late. A lot of the energy companies have done a little bit better. Retailers have done better. Right now, we have a lot of equities, though, in different sectors that are hitting resistance points. So we may need to do some more backing and filling here. But there's a legitimate shot now that the S&P 500 can go up and actually get through the February high, and that's a positive. Now, I don't think we're going to do it in the Dow Jones Industrial Average, and I don't believe we're going to do it in the Russell 2000. But I have to say, I do think that we could see it in the S&P, and the NASDAQ is already up 20% this year, so that has already made new highs.
Yeah, the NASDAQ's up, and the FANGs, there's a FANG index, that's up. So as far as making a new high, all of that, with Apple, you were mentioning, do we buy the news and sell the rumor this time, or are we still selling on the rumor? Buying the rumor and selling the news.
Yeah, you think you sell the news on this. So Apple will run up into the split. Once the stock splits a few days afterwards, I think it probably comes under some pressure, but it's going to run up. It seems like it's doing it already. Apple's at a new high today. So the stock should run up into the actual split. And then once it splits, that's where the stock could come under some distribution. Maybe not the first day of the split. They'll try to get some retail money in since the stock will be at a lower price, essentially, with the split. It doesn't affect the market cap or anything. But, some people that couldn't afford it at $460 maybe can afford it at $120. So, you'll get a little bit of buying there, and then they'll pull the rug out from under them, and the stock will pull back at that time.
And that's a great point you just raised, that stock prices, it's irrelevant if you have one share that's 400 or 100 shares that are $4. It's still the same net investment, but psychologically for investors, they can't deal with it. And one other thing, Robinhood started doing it, and the other brokers, is they're going to sell fractional shares. So does that get rid of the need for a share split at all?
Well, the fractional shares that these brokers are offering, that's really, really new. So, that hasn't really been implemented by anybody yet, but that is the new concept that is coming along. But you have to think, just take a stock like Tesla, which is going to split now as well. It's at $1,600. You're not getting a retail investor to go in there and buy a lot of shares of Tesla when it's priced this much. So it's all psychological. It does not affect the market cap one bit, but it is just a psychological tool that Wall Street has been using for many, many years. And it seems to be effective, right? So people will come back in and, they'll say, wow, I can afford it now. But it's the same as fractional shares. It's no different. But we'll see how this fractional concept works. I'm not really sure how the brokers are going to do this. That's a little bit different just because it's never been done before. I'm not sure, how you can buy a piece of a company. Do we put it in one stock certificate? How are they going to do that? I'm not really sure how that whole thing works yet.
And theoretically, it's one share, one vote. So if you own half a share, do you get half a vote?
Exactly. So
who's
the proxy for that, right?
Yeah. So. Yeah, but they'll figure it out. If they think they're going to be able to scam the public out of more money and get smaller investors to buy big stocks, they'll do it without a second thought. Nick,
absolutely,
right?
No doubt. Again, the name of the game out here is to make money. That's all that matters on Wall Street. So we've seen it here. They bundled mortgages, good mortgages, bad mortgages. The credit ratings were all over the place, but they didn't care. They made money. That's really the bottom line. They'll worry about it later. And that's just the way it works.
Yeah, it's as old as man. Wall Street will always have a new game and a new way to take money from the public, right?
That's pretty much it. I mean, that's why I tell everybody, learn how to read the charts, learn how to use these things, look at the money flow. It'll save you in the long run. You're not going to be perfect. No way we're going to win on every single trade, but when we lose, we're going to lose small, and that's the good part. And we're going to win a lot more than we lose, and we're going to let our winners run when we can. So that's the whole idea of this business. And again, Wall Street's always going to come up with something new. It's just the way it works, and we've seen that time and time again.
Yep. Yes. Nothing ever changes. Hey, finally, Nick, we would be remiss if we didn't discuss the rebound in gold. So it was going up, recovering really well yesterday, got slammed like 10 minutes before the bell, so it gained like $4 or $5. Today, just on the spot, we're up over 30 on gold, and we're up over $1 on silver. What's your read? Is the correction over?
No, I don't think the correction is over, but what I do think you're seeing now is just a lot of backing and filling. So, and I think we'll see a bit more of it. But like I said yesterday, I'm not scared off by that sell-off. That sell-off is good. That's what we want to see, because we're going to shake out the weak hands, and then the next rally will be even more robust. But it still, in my opinion, needs to pull in a bit more. We still need to do some backing and filling. Right now, you got people probably coming back in nibbling because we had such a dramatic sell-off in the precious metals. But I think you still wait it out. You just let it pull back a little bit more. Then you watch the setup on the chart. Once that setup appears, that's when you can get back in. But longer term, I'm as bullish as ever on gold and silver.
Yeah. And it's funny because we were talking about this pullback for at least 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, that it was going to occur because as the wise man Benjamin Graham once said, the father of modern day securities analysis, the tree does not grow to the sky.
Yeah, and he's right. Ben Graham, who is, I believe, Warren Buffett's mentor, he said it perfectly. And, when something goes up in that parabolic move, and all you got to do is watch the chart pattern. We talked about it. I wasn't jumping in. And as tempting as it looked, it's going to go higher. It's going to go higher. I said, well, I missed it. I'm going to sit it out. And, then it fell sharply. So, again, when the chart makes those parabolic moves, you sit back, you relax. Let it come back in, let it give you a setup, let it give you a pattern, then you get involved.
Yeah, we got a couple of people who are trolling you, saying yesterday, well, it's back up, Nick, where are you? You don't know what you're talking about, all this stuff. And it's more important to follow the discipline than the emotions of the day.
Oh, absolutely. And I could tell you this much. Those same people that could say that, I bet you they were selling stocks at the end in March 23rd when I was buying them. So, it's the same idea. You're never going to be perfect in this business. If it was perfect, Kerry, I'd be living on a yacht in the south of France right now. But, I live a good life. Either way, when you look at the markets, what you're going to do is you're just going to watch these chart patterns. They repeat themselves over and over and over continuously. And, you just let them tell you what to do. But overall, like I said, if you don't mind holding and you're okay with it, you ride it out, and you just there's a lot more upside to go down the road. Trends are up. But in the short run, these things need to pull back a bit more.
Yeah, I know. And nothing ever changes. That's the funny part. Nothing ever changes in Wall Street, in human behavior.
Yeah,
going back thousands of years, it's all the same.
The book of Ecclesiastes in the Bible says there's nothing new under the sun. What has been will be, and what has been done will be done. And that's really it.
Yeah. And I think we will leave it at that. We'll be meeting up again tomorrow on Friday to get the final installment for the week of Daily Market Wisdom. Anyways, take a look at Nick's site, inthemoneystocks.com, Twitter feeds at ITMS, at Nick Santiago01, and at Kerry Lutz. Email us, kl@kerrylutz.com. Nick, we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Sounds good, Kerry.
And so concludes another episode of Daily Market Wisdom with Master Trader Nick Santiago. Be sure to go to his website, inthemoneystocks.com. Don't forget the Twitter feeds at ITMS and at Nick Santiago01.